Good morning, RFMA. Nice to see everyone here today, and thank you for showing up so early, I'm sure after a fun evening last night. My name is Jay Fiske. I'm Vice President of Business Development for Powerhouse Dynamics. We make the SiteSage Asset and Energy Management System. I'm here today to talk about the smart connected kitchen. This is a growing trend we're seeing in the industry, the increasing availability of kitchen equipment that connects to the internet and generates data about its operations. I'm going to talk to you about several topics: why we're seeing this trend, the benefits this connectivity can bring, how this connected equipment will impact day-to-day operations of restaurant facilities professionals, and what facilities professionals can do to prepare for encountering more and more connected equipment. So to start with, maybe a definition. How do we think about what is this thing we call the smart connected kitchen? There are a few elements to this. So this is equipment. It's connected to the internet. It automatically collects data, analyzes data from critical cooking equipment, and focus on a couple areas: improving food safety, ensuring product quality, and reducing costs. So fairly basic ideas, but there's a lot of sophistication behind being able to deliver these benefits. When are we going to start seeing this? The answer is now. It's happening. It's an emerging trend. You're going to start seeing it more and more. In our conversations and work with many of the major equipment brands, nearly everyone has some type of digital and connectivity strategy, every single one. But most importantly, a growing number of the national chains are leading the way and creating demand for these capabilities. We're seeing the most critical equipment addressed first, which includes ovens, fryers, dish machines, refrigeration, and several other categories. We've got some well-publicized initiatives from folks like Middleby, Well-Built, and Rational. So why now? Why is this starting to happen? Why did this not happen maybe 15, 20 years ago? There's a couple reasons. The first is cost pressure. People here are very well aware of increasing cost of labor. Healthcare costs are rising. Food care costs are going up. Restaurants are looking for ways to offset these cost pressures and continue delivering positive bottom line. Secondly, with several high-profile cases of food safety issues over the past few years, is also an increasing pressure for operational transparency. So leadership in restaurants are looking for ways to reduce risk in their operations, to gain visibility into problem areas, and have the data and the infrastructure to react quickly and correct problems. Finally, the building blocks are in place. Cloud-based software has become an accepted means of delivering powerful enterprise-wide capabilities. Kitchen equipment has an increasing amount of integrated intelligence. Connectivity is commonplace. Nearly every restaurant will have Wi-Fi. If you don't have Wi-Fi for your customers, you probably have some kind of internet connection for your back-of-house systems. So the building blocks are in place. We can put these things together into effective solutions. So let's look under the hood and see, how does this actually work? So what's a couple examples of this? So as I mentioned, inside the equipment, they have digital controllers, these modern ovens or fryers or dish machines. These controllers are essentially like a small computer that control the system and generate data about its operation. For example, the controller in a fryer tracks things like oil temperature, the different recipes that are being used, or how many times the staff has skipped an oil filter. The data is then transmitted either wirelessly by some wireless standard, or maybe an Ethernet cable to a gateway, which is essentially a hub that aggregates this data and then sends it to the cloud. And then from the cloud, restaurant operators can access this data and the actionable information from an app or an online interface that can act on this information. So maybe a heating element in an oven has failed and needs to be replaced. That oven is offline. Or a dish machine is out of sanitizing agent. Or maybe your hot water tank is being clogged up by a Yankees baseball hat. So, sorry, from Boston. So what are some of these capabilities? What are the outputs of these capabilities? What are some of the benefits that operators can gain from this? One is automating HACCP reports, food safety, collecting data from refrigeration and cooking equipment, and digitizing what was previously manual-based, labor-intensive, and error-prone processes. So HACCP is one of the major drivers behind the digital and smart connected kitchen. Push notifications in the form of text messages, pop-up messages, or emails that can alert the appropriate staff with problems with the equipment. If a piece of equipment generates an alert, the connected equipment can also provide remote access to diagnostic data. I should also mention it's not only data being pushed to the cloud and being pushed to facilities folks and operations folks, the data goes both ways. So if you have an LTO in your stores, it's a lot simpler to push that recipe or that menu to the fryer, to the oven, over the cloud than it is to try and mail out thumb drives or maybe even roll a truck with a tech and hope that that menu is successfully uploaded to all your equipment. So it's a lot more efficient that way. So specifically for facilities teams, how might this benefit you? How might this make your lives a little simpler? To start, there is some digital intelligence in these equipment that can self-diagnose. When they detect a problem, they can send out the alert with notification and a lot more detail behind what the problem is and how to resolve it. So the facilities professionals now have remote access to the data from the equipment. What that means is before you even get in a truck and go to the site, you can log in and see what's wrong with the equipment. Perhaps determine the root cause of the problem. So will you have the right part on your truck? You know exactly where to diagnose it. The OEM can also get access to it with your permission. Of course, it's your equipment, it's your data. But if the OEM has access to the data, you can also call on them and solicit them for their guidance on what the problem may be. So this is going to help diagnose problems quickly and effectively, improving the support you receive from your OEM partners. But fundamentally, this boils down to problems being detected and resolved faster and at lower cost. So both the operators win and the OEMs win. So to summarize, what do I recommend for facilities teams? Well, there's a couple things I recommend to be able to take advantage of these growing capabilities in your operations. First, if you haven't done so already, embrace mobile connectivity. Tablets, smartphones, et cetera, will give you access, remote access to the data you need to do your jobs more effectively. Secondly, gain some knowledge of IT connectivity and low voltage work. No one expects facilities folks to replace the IT department, but you should know the kinds of questions to ask. You may want to have some basic knowledge of how to get a gateway online to an Ethernet network or a Wi-Fi network. Some basic working knowledge of those types of IT-related issues, maybe some low voltage and sensor work. Thirdly, meet with your equipment providers. Connectivity helps them too. This is a win-win situation. How can both your facilities team and your equipment providers work together with this new capability to streamline your work? In short, as facilities professionals, you should start developing a strategy for how to begin incorporating more and more remote equipment connectivity into your day-to-day operations. This is an emerging trend, but I guarantee you this is only growing in strength over time. I encourage you to embrace it. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.